So let's start off with something we've all probably heard about if you're following the news at all. Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. That's been in the news a ton lately because he's been going in and downloading government records en masse with a team of teenagers and 20 somethings. And a lot of it may be one of the biggest databases of personal information in the States because the federal government's the biggest employer. And there's no direction or guardrails around this. In fact, the Electronic Frontier Foundation is suing the government to make Musk stop accessing that data, which seems like a good idea.
I will say that this is really an evolving story because every single day I look at the headlines around Doge, there is new information coming out. And it really does feel like what they're doing right now, Jeff, is kind of flooding the zone, right? They're trying to cut in
Yeah.
so many places that people just don't have the time or the ability to keep up with all of these changes. And so they could be breaking the law along the way. And it's going to come to the point, I would think, that the law will catch up to them. What do you think about that?
Yeah. And I think you get the defense of this, like you say, flooding the zone and stuff like this. To hear Elon Musk, as he put it just the other day, that Doge, he said, I quote, in fact, I don't think there's ever been, I don't know a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization after these criticisms. At the time he said that, the Doge.gov website had 3 lines of text on their website. I checked today, and all the data he's talking about amounted to 14 tweets on the homepage. So this isn't a guy who can be trusted with any of our information, and it is not right for a government to let this happen. In fact, the laws against this, in some sense, were first created in the United States after Watergate, when we had another president 50 years ago who was just not willing to respect the privacy of his citizens.
Well, this is going to be a story we will continue to cover. And in some ways, what we're seeing right now is that all tech headlines are involving Elon Musk. And that's been our world for a while. Most recently, what we saw is a bit of a scandal between Elon Musk and Sam Altman from OpenAI. In fact, Hollywood Reporter likened it to the feud between Kendrick and Drake. I might not go that far, but
Yeah.
it's worth discussing because they do have some history together. If you don't know a lot about Sam Altman, he is, of course, the CEO of OpenAI, which are the makers of ChatGPT. Now, what is happening with this feud is that Elon Musk basically offered to buy the organization that backs OpenAI. It's a nonprofit. Except the thing is, Jeff, as you probably saw, it's not for sale. And so
Yeah,
this is
it's nuts.
another bullying
And
tactic.
Elon has just today announced that he would drop the lawsuit he has against OpenAI if they were to maintain their status as being a nonprofit only, which is just another case of billionaire bullies using the legal system to try to force people to do something. He's saying that it's wrong for them to be doing this, and yet it seems pretty likely that that is just something he's doing to try to attain some competitive edge and slow down Sam Altman and OpenAI, who are a long way ahead of Elon Musk's AI accomplishments at this point, at least.
Absolutely. So this is something to keep an eye on. I think Sam Altman has been quite frank recently as he gets a dose of the Elon Musk bullying behavior, especially with all the tweets coming at him fast and furiously. So a story that doesn't seem to be slowing down. Jeff, I wanted
And
to.
yeah, and I just, in terms of another part of the story, we all saw the DeepSeek AI stuff from China. That's playing into this as well. And the fact that this Chinese company was able to train an AI model at a fraction of the cost of the American AI players, and using less advanced chips than the expensive NVIDIA ones. I think that should be a bit of an awakening, that we have to understand people like Sam Altman and others, when they're able to convince people that it costs, extraordinary amounts of money and extraordinary amounts of energy to have these AI successes, they're partially saying they might think that's true, but it also it's empowering to them to have to lead over these gigantic budgets. It actually enriches them and their companies. So if a Chinese AI can do it at a fraction of the cost, I think that is a very important message to be sent, that we can't take everything these billionaire tech guys are saying at face value, and think that they're the sole savior out there, because for all the downsides about DeepSeek, where I wouldn't want to be using it in terms of information privacy and the connections to China and all that sort of stuff. It's good to have more competitors out there, I think.
Absolutely. So we have been talking about DeepSeek on social media for the past few weeks, and I think people are thinking, "Oh my goodness, it's free. I don't have to pay for it like ChatGPT." But I, like you, would really caution people against using it right now. I think the reality is we just don't know how well your private information or personal information is protected, and also, like you alluded to, there are issues with censorship of information, and
And
so
safety too, right?
yes.
There's some American group did a test on DeepSeek, and said it failed every single one of their AI safety things. You could get that. You could get DeepSeek to tell you how to manufacture a bomb. You could get DeepSeek to tell you how to hack into U.S. government databases. What you couldn't get DeepSeek to do is talk about Tiananmen Square. So that just goes to show that it's obviously something from China. They care about what they care about, but it may not be what we all should be caring about.
Absolutely. And thinking about the role of AI on a global scale, do want to mention that the AI summit just wrapped in Paris, and a lot went on, a lot of government officials and leaders of countries who spoke there. But do want to say that there was a declaration there that was signed by more than 60 countries, but the US and the UK did not sign that. Not a lot of information about why the US didn't sign. I think we can guess it's because they don't want more regulation. The UK, I should add, I read a little bit more about this. They're more concerned about some of the lack of security details within it. But do want to note that both the UK and the US did not sign that.
Yeah, and when you look at having the U.S. as major player in the world, China not paying much attention to this, as we can see from DeepSeek, it kind of reminds me of the environmental situation, where if you've got China and the U.S., who are the two biggest polluters in the world by far, if they're not participating in the sort of environmental side of things, on the AI side, if those guys decide to keep going without any guardrails, it's really hard to understand if guardrails would actually be of any use if every other country in the world put them in place. So it's not a great place to be, I would have to say.
So we want to switch gears a little bit. We have about a minute left. I want to talk about Apple Health, because I know you're really excited about this, as am I.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Apple has just announced a new Apple Health study that's a little bit different than the things they've done in the past, where they did really directed studies, like for the Apple Heart study and things like that. This is a study that is meant to last 5 years, could go longer, and collect a bunch of data from your devices and from people participating in the study about physical and mental health. And Apple has a really good track record of making these things work, and they have an ability to reach people that most research studies don't. So that Apple Heart study had 400,000 participants, and your average medical study might have hundreds if they're lucky. So it's great to see them doing stuff like this. They just had the new hearing test and hearing aid feature, active hearing protection in their new AirPods, and the Powerbeats Pro have a heart sensor. Powerbeat Pro 2 has a heart sensor in the ear. So it's pretty exciting to see them continuing to develop these technologies that help people's health and help them get through the day a little more aware of what's going on with their body.
Absolutely. Apple is such a leader in this space. So we will also keep an eye on what they're doing over the weeks and months to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, the Wednesday after this airs, Apple has an announcement for some new gear there. Not quite sure what it might be, but we'll keep our eye open about that as well.